Hello, everybody, and welcome back to MJ Games. And today I'm really excited as I have a really special guest joining me on the channel, as I'm joined today by PoetrySlam78. And Poet, thank you so much for joining me today to look at this park.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really a great privilege to be here.
For sure. And so just to kind of tell you guys a little bit about this park, this is called Malay Park. I probably totally butchered that, and I really apologize because I'm really bad at pronouncing names that I don't recognize. But it's created by Ramon S.W. And the quick description says that it's my first park named after my son. It contains 3 coasters, several flat rides, and a dark ride. So visit the park in both day and night. So I made sure to get some footage of both day and night. And so as we're kind of seeing some of these just kind of initial cinematic shots, what are your kind of first thoughts on this, Poet?
Wow, there's so many layers. There's so much texture and there's so much detail. One of the first things I noticed when we panned into the park, were the shields that were on the gate for the park entrance. I love touches like that, and I just the color. It's so vibrant and so lively. This is a great park.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that this creator said it's his first park, like, I mean, this is really impressive. And I mean, like right there, just all the kind of little details that we'll be able to see is really kind of stood out to me. And what you said exactly, the crest on the gate is to me one of the coolest touches. It's something I haven't really seen anybody do yet on console, but kind of adds so much as kind of a statement while you enter the park.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It just creates that depth that you don't really notice that you notice.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
has such a huge impact.
Yeah, for sure. And so I know you obviously Poet plays on PC, and so I'm really interested too to kind of get your ideas and thoughts as we kind of go through this because, obviously playing on PC, there's less limitations than on console, and obviously a lot of that depends on your PC that you have, right? So what are your
It sure does.
are there any kind of initial kind of maybe mindsets you have going in or thoughts you have going in that you're kind of looking out for since this is your first maybe console park to take a tour of?
Um, yeah, I really I'm looking for the same things that I look for when I look at a PC park. I'm looking for that attention to detail. I'm looking for good color palettes, things that are unified, that make sense together. And I see this coming all together here really nicely. Like, I could look at this and I would never guess that there wasn't any TMTK in here, first of all.
Right.
And I think that the console builders, hats off to them, because I think I would just get frustrated right away with just the controls.
Yeah. Well, see, it's funny because I'm not used to playing PC, so I do have it on PC, but I have to stream it through GeForce Now just because my PC can't handle it normally. Um,
Right.
and so TMTK does slow it down and stuff, but as we're kind of getting an aerial view there. But to me, I'm just so used to playing on a controller, playing with a mouse and keyboard just throws me off. Um, but it's yeah, I mean, it's definitely impressive how they fit all the different controls that kind of that you have to have in this game, and at least made it work on one controller.
I'm seeing some of the basic shapes or some of the art shapes being used here, and I have to say I love that. I think they're some of the most underutilized pieces in the game, and they're such good pieces to use. I'm
Mhm.
really happy to see them underneath the fountain there.
Yes, totally agree. And I think that's one thing that comes with time and more practice at the game. Like you said, you respect goes out to console players. Well, I mean, you guys as PC players had to deal with no TMTK for a couple of years, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
As a
you
matter of
know,
fact, I only started using it about 7 or 8 months ago.
oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing since launch, and I never really paid attention to the workshop. I didn't even realize it really existed. So when I got the TMTK stuff, I was like, oh, okay, this is really neat. It adds a new layer of things.
For sure.
But I've done a couple of builds for Moomin for I did a build for his Little Treasure Cove series where there's no TMTK. That wasn't bad, but the no DLC, that was rough.
Mm. Oh, I bet,
like
especially not being able to
like
use the beams and stuff that come with the
Yeah,
haunted
like
pack.
going back to that limitation. Um, it's a different game, is it? The colors, I'm loving the aqua and the yellow.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I love the
stunning
custom fencing
park.
too.
Yeah, I love to see the way that, one of my favorite things about this game is that you can give 20 players the same thing to build and you will get 20 different builds because we all
Absolutely.
see the pieces a different way.
Absolutely. And that to me is why this game doesn't get old. And for those of you who don't know, I had to pre-film this ahead of time just because we're recording through Discord and stuff. But it's like you said, it's so true. Is that everybody plays the game differently, and that's to me why this game doesn't ever really get old. Because when you start a new park, you want to try new things. You want to step out of your comfort zone. You want to maybe, like for me, my next one, I need a theme more, right? So it's just there's always something new to try. You find new pieces to use. I mean, look how beautiful
It's
um,
gorgeous.
that building looks in the background. So I'm amazed
Yeah,
that this is a first park.
this looks like it's really plausible too. It's not overly themed. It's not overly gardened. Like you could see a park being able to have the maintenance crew to be able to maintain
Mm-hmm.
this level of flowers and greenery.
Yes, this
And then
looks
the themes that they all connect with each other in such a beautiful way.
agreed. To me, this kind of it feels like a small family-owned park.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There are a couple coasters, but they're all more on like the smaller scale, moderate level. So there's nothing too crazy, and I just love that entry area. Like you said, I think the floral arrangements are nice. The buildings are all so different and unique, and I mean this little plaza area is just awesome.
Oh, I would love to take a walk around here.
Yeah, agree. Like I love this station for this. I think it's a track ride. Yeah, we're about
Oh
to.
yeah.
But I mean, this like just the roofing here, just adding that little touch of those beams. I mean, that's something that I wouldn't even have thought of doing on my first four
Yeah.
parks. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, this is wild that it's a first park. My first park. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think I did really much custom in my first park. I think I plopped in-game pieces and then maybe decorated it with some flowers. This is wild.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, this is I just love the kind of like you were talking before with floral arrangements and stuff. Like none of these pieces are overused. It looks like, and so this really seems, and it seems so separate and different than the from the rest of the park, where it almost feels like it's not even in the same park.
Yeah, it feels like a little hideaway. There's
Hmm.
like a secret garden that you get to experience when you're on this ride. I really like it.
Oh yeah, that reminds me for some reason of the book Secret Garden that like everybody had to read back in high school.
Yep, that is correct.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this is to me is one of the coolest kind of track rides I've seen because it's just so well laid out. And it's
Oh,
a
look
long
at this
track
little
ride.
garage. Like the car repair going on right there, and oh my gosh, that is good. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Maybe a couple of the trees need to move back a little bit, but
And that pine tree to the face wouldn't feel too good, would it?
yeah. And I go back around and look at kind of the animatronic there, but it looks like the guy's like flung out of his chair, so it's kind of funny to see.
I like the crow that was perched up on the corner of the roof too.
I don't even think I noticed that.
That's what I love too. You can go through a park a few times and you seem to notice something new every time. It's very much like going to a real park, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then like having this little water mill right here,
Oh, look at
this
this.
is so well done.
Wow, great waterfall. Waterfalls, I don't know how they are on console, but they are a nightmare on PC.
Yeah, they're not fun to do. Never done one that's like really good or even a major waterfall. That's water features are more Matty's specialty on console, so
Yeah.
I don't really do too many of those, but yeah, they're a mess.
This is really cute. What a great use of the animatronics there.
Mm-hmm. This is amazing. As I said, one of the best I've seen, if not the best, on console. And I'm just constantly amazed. Like even as I was going around, kind of getting this footage of like did he really say this was his first park? Like, there's no way.
Oh, look at this! Oh, that's a gorgeous waterfall.
And then having that barn door there almost kind of gives you the thought that like the car could pull off in that through that almost like garage type door.
Yeah.
Really, really well done.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Yeah, it's really not that massive of a footprint too when you kind of zoom out. But you know, with how slow those things go, it's so perfect. And
it really is. I'm just surprised that there's so much detail, and I know that there's a limit on how many pieces you can use, right? Or a limit on how big it can be.
Yeah, and hopefully I'm getting good shots here. Sometimes you realize when you're having to film video ahead of time that you don't really.
I love it. That is excellent.
Yeah, you don't really realize till afterwards how jumpy sometimes you get with the camera. So apologize ahead of time if it's like that at any point. But man, that's just amazing. Really tucked away and awesome.
Excellent use of space. Like this is a space planner's dream right here.
Mm-hmm. And I love to. I hope I go back to it at some point. But the look of that kind of plaza area, you had the kind of circular. I forgot what pieces he used to kind of create that separate design, that circular design. Right there, you've got the kind of two levels of that circular design. I mean, that level of detail is just awesome.
Yeah, it is. That's not easy to achieve either.
No, it's not. But what's your do you have a favorite kind of style when you build on your parks that is kind of your go-to if you're trying to whether it's a type of theming or anything like that?
Oh gosh, I really don't. It seems to depend on my mood and what I've been doing in my real life, where my travels have led me. I really do love modern, really clean, almost futuristic, sort of like space punk or cyberpunk type stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I also love really ornate, detailed. I've been doing a big, huge Victorian and Regency High Street in my park for the past few weeks. It's incredibly detailed, and I've really been loving it. But I can feel myself getting restless and wanting to move on to something else, so I'll probably go back to modern for a while and then go back to detailed.
Right. Yeah, totally agree. And one thing too, I think it's so one thing here that I was wondering about is there's a couple moments like this in the park that I'm like, how do you have guests walking both directions in a queue line? He set up his queue to start like in the building so that it's part of the exit as well. So you see guests kind of walking both ways, which pretty tricky to get the queue pass to line up the pass to line up properly that way.
That is really intriguing. And yeah, I mean, pathing, am I right?
Yeah, I think you'll see it more on the other kind of indoor ride. That one was harder to tell, but this is a shooting ride, and I thought I was going to be able to play, but I think I clicked on the wrong button or something, so we just get to see other people's other guests shoot. But
oh, that's great. I love these shooting rides. I love watching other people make these shooting rides. I haven't made one.
Yeah, the amount of detail you got to use is crazy. I played one in another park tour that I did that I think is it's actually out on the day that we're filming this, but I never actually played the game while you ride one of the rides, and I didn't really do that well. But yeah, do you have you made dark rides a fair amount, or?
Oh yeah, I do like to make dark rides.
Yeah.
One of the very first things that I ever did was a dark ride. It was, I think, I made a dark ride before I made a roller coaster. I put one in my very first park. It was an Alice in Wonderland dark ride.
Oh, that's awesome. It's actually
it wasn't good.
There's this guy on console who has remade a lot of the Disneyland stuff.
Oh wow!
I'm telling you, his Snow White, I gotta find a video of it or something to show you, but his Snow White ride that he made is unbelievable. And like why am I forgetting the log flume? The log flume ride, the Thunder Mountain, not Thunder Mountain,
Splash Mountain. Yeah.
Yeah, his Splash Mountain was amazing. Like the inside portions, it's just insane.
Ooh. I stay far, far away from recreation just because I would put so much pressure on myself to make sure that every detail was perfect, and I feel like it's something that would cause me way too much stress to do. I really admire the people that can do the recreations.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll like maybe, I don't necessarily do recreations. I do more of like, when I make coasters, I try to find like other coasters to inspire them by, just because I'm not too creative in terms of like making out the full layout. So I kind of look at coaster designs to see, okay, how does this one look and stuff like that. There's a guy on console that just recreated the whole Terran at Phantasialand.
Oh my goodness!
It's actually on Matty's channel, because Matty and Tommy CM and I recorded the video, and my goodness, it took him like 3 months, and he's basically said he's taking a break from PlanCo because of it.
So I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, but yeah. I mean, so what'd you think of that shooting ride?
That was really cool. I really love the end part, kind of going through that little swampy area with all of the vines hanging down and stuff. So atmospheric, really.
Yes, for sure. And I just keep noticing all the details that are in this park that amaze me.
Look, right, he made "You must be this tall to ride" sign at the entrance of that ride. That's fantastic.
And even something like this, just hanging those little flags on that pole, is not easy to do. And yeah, I think those ride signs are at almost every entrance. But just
look at the lights. I love the use of the colorful lights.
Yeah, it's really nice. And so here's the other area. Hopefully we can get a good view of it, where I think when we exit the ride, because I kind of filmed part of this out of order, and I was kind of confused, where I'm like, wait, how are guests walking in both directions? We haven't actually gotten to where the entrance to the ride is yet. That's how guests
are walking. Yeah. Wow.
There's the entrance there. So it kind of threw me for a loop at first. And I'm like, wait, what's going on?
That's a really interesting idea. I've never seen anybody do that before. That's 100% original. I love it.
Yeah, a little claustrophobic right here. But
yeah. I was in a queue like that at Tokyo Disney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was for, oh my gosh, Journey to the Center of the Earth, I want to say is what it was for. And it was also really hot in there because they had like little flame things going. And it got real narrow, and it had a lot of things hanging down, and it was really warm, and it was not, all I could think about was earthquakes. It was not enjoyable.
Yeah.
The ride itself was good though.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's those kind of queues are not the best. Yeah, now looking back, I wish I would have gotten a little more footage of that station, because that station was really, really detailed.
Yeah, it was. Oh, this is giving me like Space Mountain vibes.
Yeah, I will say the G-forces are a little bit higher on it, so I think there's a couple moments where the laterals are a little bit high, but overall, like, building one of these indoors is not easy to do due to obviously the height restrictions and stuff. But using the star panels, they do such an amazing job in this game of really making you feel like you're in space. Yeah,
they do. The star panels are one of the best things they've put in the game. So how do you take care of having your lateral G-forces too high? How can you lower them?
So a couple things. For me, I just try to start banking where I can tell that they're high at, because that kind of alleviates some of it. But then I also kind of look at how I'm using that track piece. Like, did I turn too tight? Is the coaster going too fast going into that spot? And so I think I show that area, even though we can't really see too much of the track. Yeah, so to me, it's just kind of, a lot of times it comes down to like the speed that the coaster has, right? Kind of going into that turn, and you make the turn too tight. So I first started with, like I said, trying to bank it, and then kind of go from there and see if that helped at all. Like that spot right there, it kind of turns pretty quick. What about you?
I gotcha.
When you're building a coaster?
Oh, haha. I really don't. I do build coasters. I don't enjoy building coasters. It's stressful for me because I'm doing it usually on a live stream. And people are very passionate about whether or not you're building the right kind of coaster for the right manufacturer.
Oh yeah.
And that makes me really nervous and stresses me out. But my kind of philosophy about coasters and my parks are the POV needs to be good. It needs to be entertaining for my stream, and the skyline of the coaster needs to look good in my park. So those are kind of my requirements for making a good coaster.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting you say that because I love, like, everybody approaches this game differently, like we talked about. And here, I'm just kind of zooming in on these kind of realism, almost like a.
It's got like some solar panels or something.
Yeah, solar panels. You just use the screen above it and then use the mouse pieces below.
Ah.
Pretty cool to make. Does take up a fair amount of pieces though. But yeah, it's everybody, like Jasmine, for example, my wife. She she's getting a lot better at building coasters too. So she's getting into it more. But it's funny sometimes, like trying to tell, like, oh hey, you could work on this or this, and she's like, I don't really understand what you're saying. But yeah, no, people really get into looking at their coasters and stuff, and that's where a lot of people's passion is in this game. So
yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I mean,
for me, it's a matter of just I love coasters. I love to ride coasters, and all I care about is, did I have fun on that coaster? Fantastic, it's good to me. I never really pay attention to the manufacturers or the details or the superlatives. I could, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I just care if I like it.
Yeah. And teach their own right. I do like looking at the manufacturers and learning about that.
Right.
But I'm not at the Chacho level, because that's the insane the amount of detail in that. But yeah, so we just looked at the park at night. And like we talked about before, like really the use of the lighting and different colors looked really well. Now we're coming to a different area called the Cancun Airfield. And that's one amazing thing that really stood out to me with this creator, with this first park, is like, to distinguish the area so well is just
right.
really impressive. Because that's not easy. I mean, it sounds easy, but a lot of times it's not easy to necessarily make each area feel very distinct from everywhere else.
And still make them flow together well, which was achieved here. And I'm loving the air traffic control tower. That is the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, it is. It is adorable. And then I love having the plane there. Like, we've seen a fair amount of people on console build stuff similar to this in terms of like the kind of around the flat ride. But that's one of the best I've seen, just to, like you said, the air traffic control tower. And then you've got these real that style of that Adobe style of building that really fits well with the area and kind of that desert climate. Really cool. And then cool sign.
Yeah, this is beautiful. It's really making me want to explore this type of theming a little bit more. I love it.
For sure.
It's just so vibrant.
Yeah. I feel like the tropical theming, I feel like the pirate theme, that along with fantasy stuff is where they really done a good job of giving adequate stuff with just the main game pieces.
Yeah, they really did flesh out the pirate theme quite well.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say here,
and the Western.
Yeah, Western for sure. So the roofing, because I think the creator used the actual roof pieces, and since you can't slant them diagonally, there's just a little bit of an issue with the height at some parts. So what I'd recommend, I wonder your thoughts on this, is using maybe one of that wooden piece that's like that 2 meter by 4 meter, and slanting it to where it still provides a different look on the ceiling. Just it's different with the, obviously the height of it.
Yeah, I would do that, or I would, if I was really concerned about piece count, I would probably find the largest window that I could use.
Yeah.
So you could use the backs of the windows because they're typically just flat, and and you can slant them and stuff. You could fill it in that way pretty easily, I think.
Yeah. How about the detail here?
That's an old. That's That's beautiful.
I mean, it's like
that's a pre-TMTK PC builder trick is to use windows for walls, windows for floors, windows for everything.
Yes. Yeah. The only issue is on console that really eats up the piece count. So
yeah.
got a little one of the Cascade coasters here.
Oh, I like the coaster a lot. Oh, I really like the drop.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It seems to be maybe a little bit too quick. This is one where I feel like you can turn down the friction on it, even though like if you don't want to change the height of it, turn up the friction a fair amount, just to cause it to really go a lot slower through the track.
Yeah, I feel like it would be probably more thrilling if it were a little bit slower and less rough.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But I mean, just the views you get on it, like you said, when you come out of that top lift hill, and you kind of get that view before the drop, it's just beautiful.
I love the color changes on those adventure pieces. That's really good.
Yeah, using the gray and stuff.
Oh, you get to the treasure at the end.
Yeah, and one thing too that I want to point out is I know the creator of this park actually reached out to me on YouTube a couple weeks ago, asked me to look at this park, and is those temple pieces you can actually slant diagonally, so you could slant them to where it kind of more matches the slope of the path. So it's not cutting off people's heads, basically.
Yeah. Gosh, that is all the greenery. I could just imagine placing all of that greenery.
Yes, it reminds me of like you see like pictures of like those ancient like Mayan temples or something, and how they've got.
It reminds me on them. Yeah, it reminds me of something you'd see in Atlantis in the Bahamas.
Yeah, for sure. I think those buildings, those adobe buildings, might be like my favorite in the park, just because I like that's one thing I've really started doing, is trying to kind of section off different pathing using different flooring pieces, and then kind of using certain trims to kind of outline the area. And I think it looked really cool how it was very, like, it was very distinct from rest of the path.
Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of people waiting to ride that ride. One of those little flat rides. But you can even see that here. I mean, using the ceiling pieces right there, and then you've got the different path kind of sectioning it off. Sorry, I can't speak. Yep. I'm just constantly I'm just like, man, if this is the first park, what's this guy going to do in another 2-3 parks?
I know.
So I picked a good park to have you on a tour of then, huh? To show you what PC players can do.
I absolutely love this park. Yeah, absolutely. It's just...
Oh, I love I just realized that using the planks on the flooring there, I didn't even pick up on that till now. You used like the wooden planks on the floor, on the pathing area, so that was really cool. And I realized I just said PC players before. I'm a console player, not PC player.
Oh, look at the little dragon tail going through the building. That is so cute.
That's one of the coolest things I've seen on a station.
That is so whimsical.
Yeah. Just made out of basic art pieces, like you were talking about earlier, using art shapes to create these unique kind of designs and stuff. So what is your...
This is one of the family coasters, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know you said
love the colors.
Yeah, oh yeah, the purple's always really cool for this. What is... When you do make a coaster, I know you said you don't really... That's not your favorite thing to do. Like, what coaster do you normally like to make?
I really enjoy the wind coasters, and I really like the Intamin coasters.
Okay.
I feel like they're the easiest to work with, but they're kind of also my favorite to ride in real life. So,
yeah.
I like a good hyper coaster or a giga coaster. I'm not great at building them.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I like building hypers. I think RMCs for me are one of the easiest to build, just in terms of smoothing it out and stuff. So that's my
Yeah.
favorite. But I really enjoyed that little kids coaster. I think it definitely needs some smoothing. And I know for me, when I started playing, that was one thing that kind of took me a little bit to understand, was how to kind of go through and smooth out coasters. I think the overall design and layout is really cool, and this station design is just awesome.
Well, I love the design and I love the layout, and I'm kind of glad that you brought up like the smoothing thing, because for me personally, I thought it was perfect because kiddie coasters are usually a little bit janky.
That's
You know,
true.
they're a little bit rougher. Um, so for me, it was a lot like riding like a real one.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Well, that's a little narrow in that hall right there for a food service.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, but the inside, the detail on the inside is really nice, and then you've got the thought of staff and
Backstage.
stuff behind here is just really cool. Like using the wooden
Oh
planks right there,
yes,
not wooden planks, but the wooden beams to kind of create the doors or fencing is really just such a cool.
those wooden beams are so useful.
Oh yeah, for sure. So just so that you can kind of have an idea in terms of like the console limit. So basically on a PS5, they count. It's literally like piece count. Like how many pieces do you have? And from my kind of trying to study it and figure it out, we get about 650 pieces per percent. So that can kind of give you an idea of just from how many pieces you can have in the park. But then obviously coasters take up a fair amount. A 24-meter piece of track on coaster counts the exact same as a 4-meter piece. So if you're going to do 4-meter coaster method, you're going to have a really, really small park.
Okay, okay.
And then the pathing just kills the counter, like a 4-meter path. So if you think about per percent, you can get about 3 times the amount of paths for a 10-meter path compared to a 4-meter path. And then it's even
Oh
if
wow.
you place it on a grid. So wide paths and gridded paths are most beneficial on console.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's good. I mean, so as we kind of start, because we got a couple more minutes, so we're just going to kind of do some overview shots of the park. So what was your kind of main, or what were some thoughts that you had of this park?
Well, one of the first things, and I love like the idea of the car park here. I mean, obviously, this is a very small
Mm-hmm.
parking lot for a park of this size, but I love that it was included because it kind of brings it in. It brings that movement in life. Overall, I mean, this doesn't look like a first park.
No, it does not.
Clearly, there's an eye for design. There's an eye for color. There's an eye for texture. There's really good thought given to movement within the park, how people are going to fill the space, how people are going to move around the space, and then great use of color. It just every time I look around, I see these little pops of vibrant color that pull my eye further backwards and then around to the front again. And that's what you want a piece of artwork to do. You want it to pull your eye through the whole thing. And that's what each section does. I keep looking at it over and over and over again. It just makes me feel happy.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I love about it that we didn't really touch on before is it wasn't like just a lake that was put in the center. It's supposed to represent kind of like a beach. Um,
Right.
and so you got like the one part where I love building retaining walls. I don't know if that's what they technically be called, but where you have, where you've got the water and stuff. Then having the other side, like in theory, having the ability for guests to kind of go and have a picnic or whatever they want to do, kind of in that beachy area, is just kind of a really,
Oh,
really cool thought. And um, yeah, just I mean, I don't. There's so much to say about this park that's amazing that it's like really the only feedback I have in terms of some of the coaster stuff. But that's something that takes a lot of time. Like coaster building in this game, I feel like is a pretty tough kind of curve. Um, then again, so is building, and look at the buildings that this creator's made. So I'm really impressed.
yeah. I am too. And the lighting is great as well. It wasn't just let's plonk some lights down. There was a lot of thought given to how to light the space.
And even the details, like I couldn't tell what piece to use there, but using one of, like, I think it's one of the hinge pieces for the doors to kind of give it a door handle.
Yes.
Just really, really impressive. And also that roofing there, I think that's the Quinn Dynasty roof. And I feel like I haven't really worked with the Asian theming too much, just because I feel like I would like mess it up or something. So I just haven't really experimented with it much. But it's like that roof can actually be used on a lot of different stuff. So I need
Oh
to
yeah.
try to implement that more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's I use everything for everything.
Yes. All right. Well, the video's about wrapping up. So I thank you so much, Poet, for joining me, as we definitely will need to do some more of these because it was a lot of fun. And I hope this was a good glimpse into a lot of the amazing stuff that is being created on console.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've absolutely enjoyed this and I'm super excited to explore more console parks in the future.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, and hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day.